I'm Margaret in Windsor, and the name I have to use is Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married a Childers. I was kidnapped and brought to Moulton, Alabama in 1941 at age 2. My father's Edward VIII, who never married Wallace Simpson. It was a character assassination and takedown by the Illuminati. And Elizabeth's father, my uncle, and my father's brother, George VI, who's illegal, and so is Elizabeth and that whole bunch. Now, my father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin. They were always married. They took my father's identity, for goodness sakes. Double married Wallace Simpson, an imposter, and became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor. And yes, Elizabeth's always known. Now I want to get back to this. When I first started this in 1976, I was living at Treetop Apartments in Marietta, Georgia, and had worked for doctors and still worked for doctors. I did. It wasn't trying. I did a medical malpractice, book MD, a license to kill, and it was about mind control murders. The Tesla file stolen in 1930. This is just a small portion of what was involved in that. Everyone should be very concerned. Anyway, the part I was writing about was the part about you could cure an illness or create it. So they have always had the technology, and yet they tell you to give to cancer research, to all these researches, when what I was writing about was so potent, and also the fact of who I am and who kidnapped me and all that. But I was almost killed April Fool Day of 80. Had a letter from the FBI, ongoing investigation, national security involved. But this goes back. Henry Kissinger, the Illuminati, your global government, who's way up in the global government, tried to kill me, have me killed, along with some doctors again in Atlanta. I've put all this up. This was back in 1972. And the Bloomingdale tapes, yeah, people got killed over that too, didn't they? They were Reagan's friends, and anyway, I won't go any further on that. Last I heard, Larry Flint had them, and there was a couple of people killed that had those tapes. Anyway, the Watergate tapes, 18.5 minute gap, had on that where they were trying to kill me. Henry Kissinger was giving the orders out of the White House, and that was the ones that were subpoenaed and had the gap deliberately. And I've put this up. I wanted to get to this one now. I wrote about mind control murders, and some of them were done in patterns, or how would you know? It's not subliminal hypnosis, but I'm not that much authority on it. I've told how it was done back then. It's done mass by satellites, computers. It's almost like the world would become a puppet on a string. And that string being mind control. It's done at a low level you're not aware you're getting, and you have to deprogram someone. This has nothing to do with mental illness. That is so sick, to put someone in a mental hospital who's a subject of mind control and already had their civil rights taken, to even think for themselves or make their own decisions. If they knew they had been placed under mind control and this was going on, like Paddock at Las Vegas, I'm going to use that, in the Virginia Tech next door, the 33 that were killed, because actually the one doing the shooting was programmed, and the motive is within the programmers, and he was programmed to turn around and shoot himself. So it's assassination by mind control, just like Mark from Ork, Robin Williams. Now I want to get to Elvis Presley. I just recently found out, and I've been here a little while. I've been in Roanoke, Salem since October the 20th of 86, and that's when I was told, and I know, my mom and dad were still alive and married to each other. And Wallace Simpson married the double, Elizabeth. The whole family's always known all this about my birth. I'm the legal heir. My father was taken down by the Illuminati with character assassination, his own brother. Elizabeth has stood by. She's a fake and a fraud and a war criminal. The whole bunch is. But I wanted to get back to Elvis. First of all, Elvis was a twin also, but there's a lot in this one that I can't tell at the moment, quite frankly. Anyway, I won't get into that. I'm not feeling the greatest myself. But I'm going to try to I'm not a twin. I was given the name of a twin. Peggy and Carl were twins when I was brought over here, kidnapped and brought over to Moulton, Alabama, and given the name of twin Peggy and Carl was the male, and both had been killed by their mother, and the family covered it up. I was put there in 41 at age 2, writing the book in 76, and Larry Flint was shot, and Lawrenceville, Georgia, by a program shooter, just like George Wallace. But then you also can use it to cure or create illnesses like Ebola that was sent to South Africa, and AIDS, and God knows how many more. Okay, here's my, I was going to put this up about Elvis, and there's a lot more involved in it. But, and I don't have it. I usually go by memory in my life, and I'm doing this. I've had to research the dates. So bear with me, maybe. Anyway, I'm just going to go for this. On July the 3rd of 73, my husband had bought tickets to Elvis, and we were getting a divorce, but he bought tickets, and we went to see Elvis, and he sold out in Atlanta at the Omni. That was the 5th time, and last time, I believe, in that year, that he went to the Omni or Atlanta and sold out. It had never been done before. The Omni was new. But anyway, our divorce was supposed to have been final that day, and he took me to see Elvis. For whatever that ends up being. I want to get to this part, though. I've told about mind control being used to kill people in patterns. August the 12th, 1977, Elvis returned home from late night appointment at the dentist. I've told on here that one of the most convenient, best ways is to have a chip put by the dentist in a root canal and covered up, sealed up. So I put this up many times, and you can put it anywhere. Heart bypasses, one of the doctors I worked for did to Dixon. Can't remember his name, but he was the president of Dixon Produce in Atlanta, which that was a big, huge corporation that went in, it wasn't a little bitty thing. So anyway, Elvis had just returned that night on the August the 12th, 77, from a late night dentist appointment. Okay, Ginger, and there's a thing about Ginger, the name Ginger, and how they found Elvis, supposedly, some people say he's still alive. If they did this in patterns just for the heck of it, and it doesn't change the patterns they did. So Ginger Alden was his girlfriend, and Lisa Marie was his daughter, and they were waiting up for Elvis. The last photo of Elvis was taken right after that date. So now that Elvis died, this would have been, his next concert would have been here in Roanoke, Virginia. Now, his tour date, well, I'm going to get to this, though. His tour date was to begin August, the day after he was to be here in Roanoke, and they canceled it. They canceled it August the 24th of 1977. It was going to be at the Roanoke Civic Center. It was canceled due to his death, so were the other cities in the tour. So I guess he was going to be here. I had that written down on, they canceled it, though, because he died. August the 12th Okay, I said I'll let Elvis sort. Okay, bear with me here. August the 24th of 77, Elvis's concert, Roanoke, Virginia Civic Center, was canceled due to his death. And that's Roanoke, Salem. A tour was set to start the day after Elvis's death. And that would have been, well, I'm not real sure. That day after he was scheduled to be here, I think. He died the 17th of August of 1977. Okay. He had, he was here, Elvis was here, March the 10th of 1974 at the Civic Center. And on August the 7th, 1976, the Roanoke Civic Center. Now, what I didn't know, and I've always said Elvis was murdered by mind control, not the dentist. Well, the dentist, yeah. Late night visit, you know, odd, isn't it, right here, and the dates they gave and everything. But anyway, I know I'm skipping around. I'm not going to apologize anymore, I don't think, for being not feeling good. I've got some medical problems that, I don't know, I need seen to, I suppose. I'll leave it at that. And I'm going to next week, but that doesn't help me today. I've had some bouts with, it's a type, well, I'm not going to discuss my medical. I need something for infection of the lungs, I think. Okay, the one thing I wanted to tell here is, so Elvis has stayed, had 2 concerts here in Roanoke, and he was scheduled to be back here in Roanoke just before he died. His tour was supposed to have started the next night after he died. So, well, not after he died. I'm going to have to do this over, I bet. After his tour was going to start the day after he was supposed to be here in Roanoke the last time. Okay. So, well, that was just before he died, July the 16th of 1977. Okay, but he'd been here in Roanoke in 74 and 76. March 10th, 74, August 7th of 76. And I didn't know until the other day that he had stayed, well, a couple of weeks ago. I saw a picture up there, but somebody told me to look at that picture. I'd been going by there every morning and had not noticed it on the wall. It was Elvis, about 3 little smaller pictures. And he was come to find out, at least one of those trips, he stayed here at the Baymont Inn in room 219 upstairs. But that's not, I didn't know that until now, recently, a couple of weeks ago, that he stayed here. I knew I didn't really know he'd been to Roanoke until I started Googling and all that, but I knew that he was due to be here. And he died 3 weeks prior. And then the day after he was supposed to be here, he was to start the long tour, and he died, and they had to cancel it because of his death. Now, I hope I have gotten it up here, and I don't expect you to see all the reasons of why I was telling it back then. But I do know it doesn't matter if he's dead. I hope he's not. I liked Elvis, for goodness sake. I'm one of those Elvis fans myself. And so are my sons, I might add. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at this. I've said this for a long, long time, since he died. And I also told a whole bunch of other that surrounded it. So I'm going to leave it at that. Maybe Elvis shows up and he's still alive. I hope he is. Well, he was a king of rock and roll, right?